week's video is TIG welding some really thin wall tubing for a bicycle. And the bicycle will be welded up next week, but first we're going to do some test welds on some of these little joints here, some practice pieces that have saddles cut in them. They're coped. Really good fit-ups. And I'm going to weld a couple of them up with some different filler rods. And I'm going to use this little third hand tool. You see that copper wound around there is to pick up a good ground off the table, and I have a little ball of copper welded on the tip here too. I have, even while I'm filming, I have watched an arc strike on my jump off the tip of that third hand onto the part, and so I eliminated that by using that copper. So I'm going to put a couple of tacks on it, and I'm going to weld a couple of these out, and we're going to do some testing on them. And I'm using a couple of different filler rods. ER70S2, because this tubing is a steel alloy. It's a proprietary alloy, so they're not forthcoming with the composition. It's not chromoly. It might be similar to chromoly. It might be really similar to cold roll, then it's just cold worked really severely. But anyway, I am using the rule of 33, 33 pulses a second, 33% on time, and 33% background current, because it works and it is so easy to remember, just 33 across the board. And it really does help. This is 32 thousandths, and if there's any gap, that pulse rate of 33 with the settings like they are gives me an extra second to get rod in there before it just keyholes out and I get a hole that I have to fill in. And also, you might notice that the technique I'm using is I just come a little bit forward before I back up and get over the heavy part of the puddle again. That also helps from blowing a hole. Now, when you're pulsing like this, generally without pulse you need about 1 amp per thousand, so I would only need 32 amps here. But when you're pulsing like this and you have a pretty low background rate, you sometimes have to set the amperage to about twice. So I've got it set up to about 64 amps, and that was pretty good. Didn't quite need all of it on the foot pedal, but it worked out okay. So that was the ER70S2 filler rod. I'm getting ready to use a rod called Weld Mold 880, which once I fired up on it, I initially thought this is 312 stainless. Welds just like 312 stainless does. It may not be exactly, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was very similar to just being 312 stainless. Some maintenance rod companies basically label 312 as an all-purpose rod. The manufacturer of this tubing recommends using the Weld Mold 880 as a possible rod for this alloy because it's got good elongation and good properties. And I'll tell you what, it welds really nice. Really nice. So there's the ER70S2 side, and there's the Weld Mold 880 side. So I like it. So I took it out to the parking lot, and just the quickest thing I could think to do.